Welcome to Matt Bajerski YouTube channel, I think. Where's it going? Who knows these days? I've had my hair cut. I decided to take a little bit off there and leave it a little bit longer there. I'm so vain! No, does it look silly? Probably looks silly, right? I used to be a hairdresser, did I ever tell you? I swear to God I was a hairdresser. It's a beautiful day to talk about Moldavite. And there's a reason why I'm going to talk about Moldavite, and I'll tell you that later. But yeah, it's great to have a chat about Moldavite. Moldavite to me is, I guess, my best friend, my go-to. If I ever think about a crystal, it's not a crystal! Yeah, I know! Oh, this idiot! Yeah, I am! I'm an idiot! Now go away! Yeah, I'm talking to you. Yeah, there's always one. There's always, sit down. Sit down. Shh. Just listen. I know it's not a crystal. It's a meteorite, and it's travelled from far where nobody knows. We have our thoughts and feelings about it. We've meditated with it. And if you've worked with it as long as me, you start to see and feel things that you've never felt before. Wow, this is amazing. So from the first moment I held a piece of Moldavite, I elevated. My body lifted from the ground. Not my physical, my spiritual body. And at that moment I realized I was levitating. And the gurus speak about this, especially the ones who sit in meditation. You've often heard of many different types of religious beliefs who talk about levitation. Buddhism is one of them. They talk about the art of being light of the whole body. Those things I've no idea about. I wasn't really too interested in that. But when I held a piece of Moldavite and I found my body lifting, then I kind of understood what they were saying. So to me, my understanding of lifting off the ground, levitating, is more on a spiritual level rather than a physical level. But it's fascinating because many people have talked about the disappearance of ourselves. So sometimes we can basically dematerialize, we can disappear. And in my book, I spoke about one of these stories about Isabel, who, she's not called Isabel in the book because we changed the names, but that's fine. But Isabel, sat on a table, and I didn't even realize when she was telling the story that she came into the room where I was and I wasn't in the room. And that was an interesting story, and my thought about that is, well, I remember working on the man himself, and I remember opening my eyes and I was sat in a seat. I didn't really know what happened, but I put the pieces together that I must have just walked over and sat there. However, was that in a physical or was that in a dematerial state and then I materialized there? I don't know, I've no idea, but I do believe the understanding of life and everything that is within life, that it's not all cut and dry, it's not all 100%. We don't know everything, and certain things happen, and certain things don't happen, but we think they happen. Like, my understanding is that we can vibrate to a beautiful level of happiness and joy, and sometimes we can vibrate to a beautiful level of deep healing. And sometimes we can vibrate to a level that we go in somewhere which is different from the physical into a different reality, and then we can vibrate back again. That's my understanding. Now, to anybody else, that they look and see nothing in the room, but maybe we're still there. Maybe the physical is there, but it vibrated to a different frequency that we didn't see, but actually it's there. And maybe if we woke up a little bit or looked harder, oh yeah, they are there. Who knows? I played a lot of games when I was a kid, and I used to stand there and when we were playing chase and hide and seek, I'd just stand there and they'd walk straight past me and I'd think I was invisible because I made myself invisible. Was that real? Was that reality? Or was that me just being creative? Where it was my imagination kicking in? Well, I've realized that our imagination is connected to creation and connected to the spirit world and connected to our extremely beautiful spirit, and that is the doorway that opens up to things that we don't understand. And that's where I'm coming to with Moldavite, when you get into that energetic frequency, which is the imagination, the feeling of something that we've never felt before, and we place it on our third eye, or we hold it on our fingertips, or we wear it. something happens at times that can be absolutely magnificent. So I'm going to show you one of my personal pieces of Moldavite, which a few years ago I went to the Czech Republic and I chose about 30 or 40 pieces, might have been more. And there were basically 4 or 5 collections, and one of those collections, there were one particular piece that I worked with more than the rest, because for some reason there was a connection and something about the hedgehog that worked really well with my third eye. I'm going to talk about that today, if you don't mind, if you'll allow me to talk about it. So at this present time in moment, I should be doing my next video on the Pure Energy Healing course, free on YouTube. And I think we're up to number 5, course 5. But I wanted to take this opportunity for numerous reasons. But over here, there's a table of my, let's say, shamanic tools, my healing tools that I've used for 2 decades. So this is basically part of the course. I always bring this as part of the course. And in here, I'm not going to talk about it now, were gifted to me some very special tarot cards, which are basically handmade by a young man who made them before he moved into the light. That's the story in Diary of an Accidental Psychic. If you want to go there, you'll see it. But these are the cards. Well, next to the cards, here is a very special Moldavite. So I'm going to put this here. And I'm going to open it. And it's only a small piece, but it's very, very delicate and very beautiful. And if you imagine that 50 million years ago, when the meteorite hit the ground and created that impact of energy and then burst out the sand, turning it into glass, that glass combined with the meteorite created this. And I'm going to turn it around this way so you can see it. Looks like a butterfly, doesn't it? I know it's hard to see, but it's the most exquisite Moldavite in the world. It's absolutely beautiful. Look at that. Can you see that beautiful piece of cloud in there? So this is only what Moldavite can give, not the fee. You can't fake that. But here it is. It's gorgeous, eh? So basically this piece of Moldavite is what's called museum grade. And what that means is when dealers who buy meteorites, some of them start to look for quality in certain meteorites. I have no really true understanding of that because I have no interest in that. However, what I've learned over the years is that when Moldavite dealers, especially with this Besanitze, when they're looking at the hedgehog, they take a glass and they start to look at it and see if there's any chips. Closely look. You see, if it's chipped, it's less valuable. If it's perfect, as the weather would go into the ground, the water, the elements, and then shape it into this kind of hedgehog, then it's more valuable. Anyway, to me, its value is its gift. So how I work with this is, I don't know if I've ever spoke to you about, I'm sure I have, but when you have crystals, if you have a cluster of crystals, normally on the, let's say, I don't know, clear quartz cluster, a citrine cluster, you normally have the little pointers. Now, if you're, say, take for instance, a Moroccan clear quartz cluster, if it's a young crystal, then the little pointers are tiny. The older it gets, the bigger the pointer. So the pointers, to me, were very important when I first started the healing work. Why? Well, first of all, I was noticing shamans and healers using pointers attached to different pieces of wood that they would use as what some people call wands, but they were using them, especially one shaman that I worked with. He had a Lemurian quartz pointer, and it was wrapped with a strap on a beautiful piece of wood. And he would go to PowerPoints. So not only the PowerPoints that you know as the chakras, but he was also going to different PowerPoints. And I was watching this, and I said to him, you know, what I noticed was a lot of the PowerPoints, which I thought was extremely powerful, was normally in the knees and in the palms of the hand and sometimes in the temples. And I was seeing some great, wonderful things happening there. And he was saying, Mark, people don't really talk about this. They talk about chakras. It's kind of like, this is it and that's it, but there's a lot more. And I said, I can see what's happening. And, you know, I should talk about it more. And obviously I'm doing more videos day by day, but if you take a beautiful, like say clear quartz or a nice crystal with a point and work on the PowerPoints here, you'll find that your mind strengthens. You find that you allow the good energy in and the negative energy out more if you work on the PowerPoint. Anyway, get back to Moldavite, Mark. I go off on one so much. So Moldavite, especially hedgehogs, why do you think they call it hedgehogs? Because they've got points. Now, there's a reason why they've got points for a healer to work with when we're working on the third eye or the temple or the knees. We're working on the energetic frequency of the pointer going into, a bit like, how do I describe it? You know, when you see these films where they've got a diamond tip and they've got a laser and it goes through it and it goes to that point. Well, the same is true with hedgehog. So it blasts an energy through points. So if you've got a Mali clone, that works on an overall sphere of how it's shaped. But for some reason, with the Moldavite hedgehog, it has these direct like energy shooting into you, and you can feel it. And the reason why I have this one is because if you place it on your third eye, you've got literally 100 pointers pointing at you, so you can feel these direct beams of energy, and it hits you like, it's difficult to say, it's hard to put into words, but it's phenomenal. Your whole energy changes. You become more alert, aware, and you see and feel things that you've never felt before. This is true when you hold it in your fingers. So I swap like you would do malas. You go from one to another. I do the same with this. So I'll move my fingers across and use them all on my tips, and then I'll place it here and hold it like this way or this way. And you can also use it on the whole body as you're moving it around, and you'll feel the energy going through these pointers. So Moldavite to me always seemed to be the crystal that I had great success with. So it's easy for somebody like me as a healer to fall into the trap of always going to the Moldavite. And to begin with, at the first 2 or 3 years, I've got to hold my hands up and say that it was predominantly Moldavite that I would use most of all, because I felt safe and comfortable with it, because I knew it would always produce such amazing work. So let's say if a guy from Russia walked through the door, am I allowed to say that now? Are you all going to get offended? Let's say a man who walked through the door, because he is a man no matter what part of this world we all live on, walked through the door and laid down, and I thought, wow, there's a lot of work to be done on this person. I would literally turn to the Moldavite, because I knew that at the end of the session, if I placed the Moldavite on his third eye, or on his crown chakra, or on the side of his temple, or maybe on his heart, and do the healing work, I knew predominantly that that would be a mind mess. It would blow him away. It was like, what was that? And he would walk out of the door, and it would reevaluate his life and an understanding of what life is. Because you don't, if you've never experienced a real healing session, it's very difficult to put into words, but it does change people's lives. So Moldavite was always the crystal that was with me because it did the most greatest work. But as my confidence grew, so did more crystals in my life, and I introduced more and more crystals. But from 38 years old till now, I'm 53, I would always, even now, would turn to Moldavite at the most challenging points of my life. At the most happiest points in my life, I would go to Moldavite. At the most creative points of my life, I would go to Moldavite. At the most powerful, magical moments of my life, I would turn to Moldavite. Everything that I believe within Moldavite is part of our daily experience. So it's good for everything. That's why I recommend Moldavite. I very rarely have it these days. I'm waiting upon a few pieces coming from Bali, but it's hard to get. It's gone sky high. It's rocketed. This what would maybe once have been 20 years ago 400 is now 2,000. So the price of Moldavite has gone through the roof. Why? Supply and demand. It's that simple. So this is a beautiful piece that I chose from a beautiful man. I love it to bits. It's worked magic on me. It's never let me down. It's absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if it's still 100% perfect because I've used it so long, but it's near as perfect as can be. But doesn't matter. It still works well. Even if it chips, even if it breaks in half, Moldavite still works amazing. And you can always give it to somebody else. But this is it. Moldavite has magic. Moldavite is magic. It's come from a place where I believe was magic, and it's been brought to us to help raise the frequency of this world. So why am I making this video today? Well, I'll tell you why. This particular piece that I'm so fond of and I'm going to miss, this piece is going to be put into a drawer. And right now, at this moment, it's in a drawer. And what that means is I'm a supporter of independent media. So if you go to my website today and go to the shop, so if you go to markbajerski.com, you'll see shop. Click on shop and scroll down. Soon as you see books, click on books. Now, this is what I'm offering you. The book is there for sale. I put the book prices down as well. So my books are Seeing the Invisible, Diary of an Accidental Psychic, Hold That Thought, and From My Heart to Yours. 4 books. On e-book or on audio book. Now there's one more that I haven't mentioned, and that is Clearing Spirit audio. There is music that is clearing of spirit. I don't know how it's written down, but it's basically a beautiful piece of music which is added my meditation for cleansing and clearing spirit out of rooms. So that's included as well. So if you buy any of those ebooks or audios, each £5 is converted to 1 ticket. Okay, so you've got another 2 or 3 days, I think. So if you go on to, I'll leave the link below. If you buy 1 ticket or 3 tickets or 20 tickets or as many as you want, they will be put into a bowl, and I'm going to pull one name out for this beautiful, beautiful specimen to win. What I'll also do, put it away. What I'm also going to do is grab some of my favorite crystals, and also after this has been raffled, which again is in another 3 or 4 days, I will then individually pull 1 crystal and add them to the raffle as well. Every single penny that goes, every £5 that you buy a ticket for goes directly to independent radio. And this one is the Richie Allen Radio Show, okay, because I support them. Now, what I also am going to do, not only I'm giving that out of my own pocket, but I also said this morning that if you spend £5, I'm going to, out of my own money, put £5 as well. So whatever that raises for the Richie Allen Radio Show, I am going to equal with the same amount of money. This crystal is amazing. It's powerful. And I hope it comes into your hand and for you to work with it. I'm wishing you a lovely day. Take care of yourselves. Links below, and good luck.